hello there, family. I didn't see you there. And welcome back to another edition of Midweek Moment with the Crenshaws. I am Sanchez Crenshaw, and as always, I am joined by the better part of my day. The apple to my eye, the wind beneath my wings. The Laura to my Leroy.
Laura and Leroy.
Yeah.
What?
Laura Charles?
Who?
Bruce Leroy?
Don't do this.
The Last Dragon?
The Last Dragon.
Come on, man. How you not know that? That's a hood classic.
Really? That's not a hood classic.
That is a hood classic.
Anyway, what's going on, family? What is going on, guys? I am Angela Crenshaw, guys. What is going
That is my
on?
wife, family. Family, that's my wife.
Is it a hood classic, though?
It is actually truly a hood classic. I'm saying, if you were raised
Bruce Leroy?
Bruce Leroy, he had the glow. If you were raised in the hood, you have seen at one point in time Bruce Leroy.
Hey, first of all, didn't you buy it for me one time?
I bought it for me.
Oh, so how I get it?
Yeah, because like everything else that I buy for me, you take.
You sure you bought that for you and not me, baby?
I bought that for me.
Bruce Leroy.
Because I needed to hear Kiss My Converse.
What?
Show enough.
Show enough.
Show enough. That was the dude.
Show enough.
Family.
That hair was so big.
Yo, it was amazing because
It was so big.
it was so many different styles at one time. Because it was the Afro puff, but it was a Jerry curl. It was amazing.
What, baby, was it really
It was
amazing?
absolutely amazing.
Didn't he have the wide red shoulder?
With the wide red shoulder
leather
pads,
jacket.
with the Converse.
Okay.
When he made Leroy kiss his Converse. Tell you.
So where is it now? Do you
I really don't know.
Oh, no.
I have no idea.
Okay.
We've moved so much, and you throw away my stuff.
Wow.
You keep your stuff, but throw away my stuff.
Wow.
But that's a topic for
Another
time.
day. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Family, we always want to start with just welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Family, we thank you for being a part. We thank you for listening. For our new family members, we always call our new listeners our new family members because the moment you listen to the Crenshaw Corner,
You are family.
you are now officially part of the family.
Yes, and we are so happy you here.
We are so happy you're here.
You like the way I said it? So
I do.
happy
I really
you
do.
here.
However you found us, however you're
Yes.
listening, whether it's iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon Music, whether it's Google Play, whether it's iHeartRadio,
Wow.
or on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com. We thank you guys so much for just listening.
Yes.
For our returning family members, you already know how we feel about you.
Yes. Welcome.
Now, our new family members, don't misunderstand.
We love you.
We love you.
Yes.
There's a special place in our heart for you.
It is.
But it's something about
The return
those
listeners.
returning family members.
Welcome back.
For real?
Welcome back. Okay, how many bars can you sing though?
I don't even know that's really a thing. I think
But
they
so
can
many
kind of
people
just
say that though.
It's one of them things that people been lying about for so long that it comes out to be true. That people believe it.
Okay, so I'm not gonna sing Welcome Back. Okay, that's the last time.
But that used to be my show though.
We're gonna do that too.
I used to love Welcome Back.
Rorschach.
Of course.
Rorschach.
With Vinny Barbarino.
Who was your favorite?
Actually, my favorite was Gabe Carter. Was Mr. Carter. He was my absolute
Really?
favorite. But out of the Warthogs, actually my favorite was Epstein.
See, I love Vinny.
Vinny Barbarino.
What?
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
Yes.
Nah, but Epstein was my little dude.
Why
man.
though? With his little self.
That's why, because he had the Napoleon complex, but he
was always mad.
He was always mad. He was the tough, sensitive dude.
Yes.
But that fro he had, that Jewish fro he had,
Yeah, he got that.
was amazing.
He did that. He did it.
Yeah, and family, I'm not being racist. The character was a Jew. He was Jewish,
Right.
But he had the fro.
He had the fro.
It was amazing. He could come to any barbecue. It was amazing. Speaking of barbecues,
Okay.
family, welcome to the cookout.
Welcome to the good.
You like that transition? You like that segue?
That was so good.
Like that segue?
I liked the way you did it.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm a professional at this.
You are a professional.
I told you, I'm trying to get my resume together.
Right.
Unfortunately, family, there's a loss.
Yeah, that was
in the
sad.
world.
That was sad.
You know, if you're not familiar, unfortunately, Larry King did pass away.
He did.
Yeah, so I am
interviewer,
trying.
Amazing
interviewer. He was amazing.
Amazing
I
man.
actually, and we'll get back to the episode in a minute, family. Just bear with us.
Just, rabbit hole.
Yeah, rabbit hole.
Squirrel.
So I listened to an interview because one of the people I follow on Instagram is Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes, that's my girl.
Huge fan of her.
Oh, I love her.
Huge fan.
I love her.
I've always respected her work, but the recent, I think, year or so, I actually started like really following her and really listening to her.
Right, she's
and
amazing.
She absolutely is. She absolutely is amazing.
Yeah.
And she posted an interview right after Mr. King died that they did.
Right.
And I was amazed, and it was really because he had the knack, he had the skill, just the talent. You forget it was an interview.
Right.
It was really like just two old friends
Talking.
sitting down and talking. Or it was like a niece sitting down talking to her uncle.
Right.
And it was amazing. And just,
Wow.
and the fact that he did it for decades and
Yeah.
talked to everybody from entertainers to politicians to leaders of
So
leaders of
good.
the world.
So good.
Yeah, he was amazing at what he did.
So good.
So I'm going to keep saying until it happens, I'm trying to be the next Larry King. I'm trying to
Okay.
be the Black Larry King.
Look at be the Black Larry.
I'm just
King,
saying.
baby.
But anyway,
You can do it.
you took me down a rabbit hole. That's your fault.
You can do it.
Family blaming wife. That one ain't my fault.
No, I'm very supportive of this dream of yours.
I
Seriously.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I'm here for it.
Hey, make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen.
So family, once again, welcome to the cookout.
Yeah.
Make sure you bring some aluminum foil.
So you could take something with you.
That's right.
Some Crenshaw nuggets. See how good I didn't even say nothing.
I
about
know.
The gems.
I saw that.
Nothing about the gems.
Now,
today.
family, it normally takes us a little longer than about 6 minutes to go down a rabbit hole. We normally takes a good 15.
Yeah, but something happened.
But yeah, I did it to prove a point.
What point? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did it to
yeah.
prove a point.
Prove a point.
So every once in a while, family, not very often, we may go down a rabbit hole.
I can't even rebuttal this time because it was sad.
It was for
right
real.
off top. We just went
off
downhill.
gate.
But go ahead.
The beginning topic may not be the middle topic.
It may not even be a topic.
We may end on something totally different.
Yeah.
We may say we're going to discuss one thing
Yeah.
and never touch on it.
But we okay, I'm gonna say this every time you say that. But we have good intentions.
Our intentions are good.
Our intentions are good, babe.
But you know what they say about intentions, right?
What they say?
They say, well, never mind. We'll talk about that later.
No, for real. What? Never mind. Because when you say,
No, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
oh, okay.
That's what they say.
Okay, then
So we had good intentions.
we had good intentions.
But every once in a while, we may go down a rabbit hole.
Yep.
But the one things we always try to do, we always try to leave you with a different perspective.
Yes.
A different outlook on life. We try to leave you with something. A nugget, a takeaway, something that you can be sitting somewhere and be like, aha, they said, I can apply, I can do, I can see.
right.
So that's why we say, bring your aluminum foil. Make sure you take something with you.
Absolutely, all the time.
And then the last thing, because family is crazy, we're still in housekeeping. So let me,
How many minutes
still-
we been in this
we're
right
about
now?
we're about 8 minutes in,
Ain't really.
and we haven't even told the family
We
what the
ain't even
topic
telling
is.
we in the socials.
You know what I'm saying? But family, we consider ourselves an interactive podcast. So what that means is that we can be found on the socials.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, all under Crenshaw Corner. And then, of course, you can email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. We love hearing from you.
Hey, is
What up, babe?
MySpace still a thing? Okay, is LinkedIn and MySpace still a thing? I'm just asking
Wow.
for a friend.
Did you really just ask about MySpace?
MySpace and LinkedIn. So is these two things still a thing?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, LinkedIn is still a thing.
Thank you.
MySpace has not been a thing for about 15 years.
Okay, cool. Because I want to make sure that we on all platforms.
I can't
Okay,
with you.
I cracked my own self up.
But no, MySpace, Facebook kind of took over MySpace.
Okay.
Yeah, MySpace hasn't been a thing.
So where else can we be?
I guess AOL, I guess,
Dial up.
instant message. Find us on dial-up. So we're somewhere on dial-up.
I'm doing dial up, baby.
Is that what you're doing?
I was doing dial up. Okay, I'm so sorry.
can't.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Family, we actually do have a purpose today. We're not just here just to hear ourselves
We
talk.
just not up here on hump day doing nothing.
Yeah, it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
It is hump day. We're in the middle of the week already.
Right. Not even the middle of the week, but baby, the end of the month.
Yeah, it's about to be
Chantuary.
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 It's about to be February.
It's about to be February.
February, real quick.
Wow.
That means we're coming
crazy.
into the month of love.
The month of love.
Love.
What you gonna sing?
Actually, I was gonna sing "Music Soul Child," but I forgot the lyrics. To be honest with you, I was about to pop into a little "Music Soul
I
Child."
thought you was gonna sing "Loving You."
Nah,
But
I wasn't gonna do that.
That was sad.
I was gonna do a little "Music Soul Child," but then I absolutely forgot all the lyrics. Baby,
Yes.
Oh, we gonna talk about anything.
No, we are gonna talk about something. But let's get back to February for 1 second. February. So let's family.
Oh Lord.
Let me let you in. Let me clear my throat. Anyway, listen. February is the month of love.
It is the month of love.
And we have several guests coming on the Crenshaw Corner. I can't even tell you, but when I tell you that I'm excited about the people.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Couples that's about to drop some nuggets and some gems. I was going to put the gems in there. It was coming.
It was coming.
Listen, be ye always ready for Crenshaw Corner. Ye ready.
Always ready.
But what I'm saying is, binge as much as you want, but I need you to get your heart together. Like the way I did that?
All hearts and mind clear.
For February.
Yeah.
Okay?
We do have some very special
we do.
things for you coming in February.
We do.
Some very intriguing conversations.
Yes.
Yeah, so make sure. Always tune in to Midweek Moment in Crenshaw Corner.
Yes.
Always do it.
Always do it.
But make sure during February.
Yeah.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
Send a smoke signal.
Whatever you got to do.
Send a carrier pigeon.
Hello.
And make sure your friends are listening to Crenshaw Corner in the month of February.
And listen, last thing I'm going to say about February, we got some After Dark editions for February, y'all. So
family, for our new family members, if you're not aware, every so often what we will do an episode entitled After Dark. And family, those After Dark episodes, those are to be honest, is not always for mixed company all the time.
Right. So you don't want that on the speakerphone?
Yeah, and what I mean by that, it's nothing raunchy, it's nothing obscene, it's nothing like that. But we talk freely. As married couples, as grown folks, if you happen to listen to us with your kids in the car, with your kids in the home,
don't do that one.
Or at your desk or whatever.
Don't do this.
The After Dark episodes.
Don't do it.
Those are the ones that you maybe not want to have your kids in the room.
Put your headsets in.
Unless you're willing to have some uncomfortable conversations with your kids.
When it's all over.
Yeah, because we talk. During the After Dark episodes, we're adults.
Yeah.
We're married.
Yes.
When it comes to that particular topic, everything's legal.
Yep. Nothing's off topic.
Nothing's off topic. And so we are scheduled to you're going to hear a couple of different After Dark episodes in February.
Yes, you are.
So we pre-warned you.
Yes, we did.
We pre-warned you.
We did good.
We did good. So, babe, the episode is halfway over. So we're already about 15, 20 minutes into it.
This is such a fun topic we're about to talk about.
Is it a fun topic?
It's a fun topic. I'm going to tell you why. Because it all stemmed from a Wednesday and a Friday.
Yeah. Previous episodes.
Midweek moment and a regular Crenshaw Corner moment. And it's about triggers.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about triggers, because when people ask us about it, it's just a fun topic, but all triggers are not bad triggers, though.
Yeah.
There's some triggers that trigger really good memories and kind of build you up to who you are today, but then there's some triggers like what happened to me in St. Jazz. Wednesday...
Was it? I think it was last Friday's episode. It started on last Wednesday's episode.
It started on Wednesday with me.
Yeah, and then it transitioned, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, it transitioned over to the Friday episode.
That was you.
That was me.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So people's asking about triggers.
Yeah. So family, what we decided to do in the last 5 minutes that we have for this particular episode, we decided to talk about triggers.
Triggers.
If you listen to us at any point in time, you've heard us mention the word triggers.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what can trigger you.
Yeah.
And in this society, in 2020, 2019, 2021, you may hear the word triggers all the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times you may hear it in a negative tone.
Yeah.
Or a negative connotation. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're going to talk about both sides. Both sides of the coin.
Triggers are freeing, to be honest. Triggers are freeing, and triggers are calming.
Yeah.
And I'll say, okay, for instance, I'll talk about what happened Wednesday. Just a recap of
and I'll recap mine from Friday. Yeah.
The recap was Sanchez was playing Al Green. He bought his album. Mm-hmm.
I purchased the greatest hits of
Al Green.
The great Reverend Al Green.
Not the great Reverend Al Green.
Well, he's a reverend.
So I was in the bathroom and I was getting myself together, but the more that I heard Al Green,
Love and Happiness.
No, sir, too soon, sir. And the more I heard, the angrier and I could not figure out why. Because my family tells me that I don't like music. You don't like music.
You don't.
I do like music. It depends on what kind of music it is. I've realized that trigger made me realize what type of music triggers me into anger. Right. So he would just, I mean, and like I said, love and happiness, all of that good stuff. But I was so angry.
Oh, wait a minute.
And so mad. And I could not figure out, why am I so angry and mad? And then all these memories came flooding back to me. And what it was my parents would get into these big arguments and slams and fights and all that good stuff. And when they did that, after all of that, now I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It was a traumatic experience for me. I'm all crazy and all nervous. And the next thing I know, they got on Al Green with James Brown, and they in there hugging, kissing.
And they all lovey-dovey.
And so that, for me, I realized that song triggered that. And I was so mad, because how could y'all do that to your child and then just go in there act like nothing's going on? I understand they were adults and they print whatever, but that just made me angry. So it triggered me to be angry and then be angry at them again. So that was my trigger, Al Green.
And I can understand why that would make you angry. For me, just to recap once again, family. So my trigger was, and it was so polar opposites from yours, because where yours came from a not so pleasant memory, mine came from actually one of the best things in my life.
Right.
So my trigger was coming from my grandfather. I'm pretty sure if you've listened to any episode, family, you've heard me talk about my grandfather.
Yes.
He was the most influential person in my life growing up. To this day, he still is, even though he's been gone for quite some time. And so I had the privilege of pretty much being raised by my grandparents. I spent a lot of time with them. A lot of time with my grandfather. And so we used to go shopping all the time.
Right.
And running errands. And it was never a situation where we'd go to one store. It was multiple stores. So we go to like 3 or 4 different pharmacies, 3 or 4 different supermarkets. It was,
wow.
It was always, because what he liked was always at different stores.
Right.
He was trying to save money,
right,
because this one store had it a little cheaper than this other store.
Right.
So we would be gone all day.
Right.
And even though I truly love spending time with my grandfather, I didn't like the fact that we were running so many errands.
Right.
So when I became an adult and then got married, and then Ange, my beautiful wife,
you married the errand runner.
She's an errand person. She's an errand person. She's a multiple store person. She is a walk down every aisle.
Especially in the Dollar Tree, y'all.
Here's the thing, though, family. Here's the thing.
At the Dollar Tree, you got to go to... You
really
know.
don't.
You do. You don't know what's coming up.
No, whatever it is, it's $1.
No, but it's new stuff it's new stuff every day.
Just go online and get it.
Ew.
So...
Not experience.
Yeah, no, so for me, having to do that, I didn't like it. I got angry.
When we would have to do it
together.
together.
When we'd have to do it together, and now we're going to 3 and 4 different stores, and the more stores we go to, the angrier I become.
Wish you would have stayed home at that point.
I prayed I could have stayed home. You wouldn't let me.
I wish I would have left you home after a few stores.
That was my whole purpose. Trying to aggravate you enough to be like, you ain't got to come again.
But guess what?
It didn't work.
Wrong wife.
Very wrong wife.
Wrong wife.
It didn't work. So, but that's, like I said, family, so to recap, that's how we got here with the conversation of triggers. And then which led us into a very interesting conversation we had with our child, with our youngest daughter.
Yeah.
And so, and it just started talking about the different things that happen and the different situations and the different scenarios.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, family, it doesn't take much.
Right.
It doesn't take much to, for lack of a better term, to trigger you in a particular situation.
Right.
Your senses do it all the time. You could be somewhere and you'll get a random whiff of something, and that smell will take you back to another place in time.
Right. You literally go back too.
Yeah. Or you smell a particular food.
Right.
And it takes you back to a particular time.
To your grandmama house.
Yeah. So my wife wanted to have this conversation about triggers.
Yeah, because
Somebody have at it.
I think that triggers, like I said, triggers. After I realized why I was so angry and I needed a few more days, then I can listen. I can listen to Al Green now.
Can I play it in the house now?
Let's not play it in the house, but I can listen to it.
Wow.
I'm only teasing, but it freed me up to understand why certain music, like irk my nerves so bad because I never understood. I just know I was angry.
Right.
But out of nowhere, because again, I don't listen to Al Green, and for you to have it in the house in my space, and it's like playing and playing and playing continuously.
One song after another.
That's when it triggered, and it was like, oh, but now it's freed me. Right? Because now I understand, why I feel that way. Before, you kind of feel a certain way and you don't know why you feel the way you feel. So I think that sometimes triggers can free you. Same thing with you. Yours freed me too, because I thought it was just that you hated shopping. And even with you, because you thought like, I just thought I hated shopping, but now I realize the reason why is because it triggers me, and I promised myself as an adult that I would not go to all these stores, and I had a right to say no.
Because as a child, even though once again I was with the person that meant the most to me in life, I enjoyed being with him, I enjoyed the conversations we had.
Right.
But of course, as a child, I did not have an option.
Right.
I didn't have a choice.
Right.
Right. I would prefer to have spent time with my grandfather in a different medium.
Okay.
In a different way.
Right.
But I was not given that option of that choice. My grandfather said, "Boy, get in the car."
So in the car you go.
In the car I went.
Right.
There was no. I had too much respect for my grandfather. I had too much reverence, and to be honest, I had a little too much fear. To say anything but yes, sir.
Right.
And so I hopped my little happy behind in the car, in that Buick.
Right.
In that '76 Buick, and it was the size of a boat, and there we went. But then as I became an adult, I'm like, and to take it even a little further, I don't think we had this part of the conversation. As an adult, I got back to the point of being a child where I didn't have an option because our dynamic at that time and the way we communicate with each other, and we talked about this in the Make Room episode,
right.
Family. If you have not listened to
Please listen.
Go back and listen to A Room with a View. I was not given room to say no. Right. And so I felt like all my options were taken away from me, and this is something I had to do whether I wanted to or not. Right. And so, and that point once again, so I got angry now. So because I couldn't show that anger to my grandfather, I dare not show that emotion to my grandfather. But I could show it to you.
Because you're adult.
Because I'm adult
you're my husband, you a grown person, and you should be able to. It's so funny because we didn't even realize that was an issue until you started talking on Friday. We was like, wait a minute. Yeah. That's a trigger. And we didn't know. Talking about a good trigger, I was thinking about when I was like, let's talk about triggers, but not bad triggers or, just different ones. And whenever I hear, don't judge me, whenever I hear the first CD of Erykah Badu, seriously,
man. Yeah.
I automatically go back to a time when I was living in New York. I was burning incense.
Head
wrapped, right? And that's when it reminded me, because I kept saying, what was my interest in wanting to be a meditation teacher? What was my interest in that? Did I meditate a lot? I couldn't get the concept, but I remember
Baduism.
Baduism. And I remember feeling like burning incense, wrapping my head, and just being still. And that wasn't what her music was about, but there was something in her voice, there was something in her music that made me want to be still. Right. So which made me realize that I thought that wanting to be a meditation teacher is something that just happened maybe 6 or 7 years ago, or maybe even 10 years ago, I thought. But in actuality, way back then, about, oh my goodness, when did her CD come out?
Keep talking, I'll tell you.
Because I'm interested in that, because I thought that it was, like I said, it was just something 10 years ago, but it wasn't. It was always something that was in me to be able to make people calm and relax like she did in her music, and make me want to sit down and mellow out and just be, and just groove to her music and groove to her sound and just be free.
97 actually.
Wow, 1997.
Yeah, it was released February 11th, 97.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it.
So when I thought that, I was just that her music, so when I hear it now, it still triggers that in me.
It still does.
It still, it does.
Yeah,
it
because
does.
the crazy part is that whenever her song, because I'm a huge Erykah Badu fan, and so I'll play it from time to time, and your whole mood will change whenever a song of hers, especially a song from that first album, that Badu album.
That first Badu album.
Baduizm rather,
Right.
your whole mood will adjust, and it's not a bad thing because
Right.
you'll go real calm, you'll go real mellow.
Yeah.
I think for the first time you don't think as much,
Right.
because you are an overthinker.
I am.
Your mind is constantly running,
really
it's
am.
constantly going. But whenever like one of her songs comes on from that
Yeah.
first album, your whole vibe changes.
I just want to be calm. I just want to vibe. I just want to burn my incense. I just want to sit, Indian style. And I just want to, because even my voice changed. Even when I start talking about it, it's just
Yeah.
like, I just want to just be calm, just be cool, just be whoever I want to be. And always wanted to show women, basically, love
Right.
you guys. You guys are amazing. But just for women that they could just be.
I second that emotion.
Yeah. So
Women are amazing.
So yeah, so it did and it's so weird that you even see that it triggers me. Because I didn't even realize that it did till just recently when we started talking about triggers, and I was
Right.
like, one thing I know that triggers me, and I was like, wow.
Yeah,
It does.
it really does.
It does. Do you have a good or a bad trigger?
For me, my good trigger is nostalgia.
Okay.
Is for me, and what I mean by that, like if you notice when we start talking about Welcome Back, Kotter, there was a difference in me when we started.
be
I got
so
very
excited
excited
like a little
about
kid.
it. Yeah, because it reminds me, and it's an old cliche, but shows like that. Welcome Back, Kotter.
Right.
We've talked about it before. Amos and Andy, Andy Griffith,
Right.
Mayberry, RFD,
Right.
Perry Mason,
Did you say Mayberry?
RFD.
RFD.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on. I want to make sure I heard what I heard when I heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Perry Mason, Matlock, shows like that. It takes me back to a very simpler time. It takes me back to, once again, my grandparents' home.
Wow.
It takes me back to sitting on their floor in the den.
Right.
With my grandmother on the couch, my grandfather in his room,
Right.
and me laying on the floor, and me and my grandmother just watching old show after old show,
Right.
and just talking, and her telling me about her past and who she was growing up. Very different time then.
Right.
To give a little context to it, my grandmother's grandmother was a slave.
Right.
That's the time frame here that
frame.
we're talking about. My grandmother grew up during the time. My grandmother grew up before civil rights.
Right.
So just let that sink in for a moment.
Wow.
My grandmother, my grandparents grew up before it was a law that you could not mistreat black people.
Right.
That's the time they grew up in.
Right.
She grew up when Jim Crow, and she grew up when the Klan were freely burning crosses in people's front
Right.
yard. That's the
Right.
time she grew up in.
Right.
So listening to her tell me stories and telling me about who she was and who she was as a child, and then my grandfather talking to me and telling me, boy, if you ever get in trouble with the law, if it's your fault, he always told me, he said, if you didn't do it, I'll be there for you. I'll do whatever I can. He said, but if it's your fault, you gonna sit there.
You just gonna sit
You
right
gonna
there.
sit there.
You gonna sit there.
And it takes me back to that time.
Right.
It takes me back to being under his tutelage.
Right.
Listening to him, listening to his stories, him talking to me. And so and that's why I love old shows like that.
Right. Right.
And not to mention they were very well written too. Simpler time. But that's a trigger for me. So nostalgia reminds me of that time. It reminds me of my grandparents. It reminds me of my brother.
Right. Wow.
Like one of my favorite shows now, I don't think you and I have ever talked about this, but one of my favorite shows of all time is an old Nickelodeon show
Oh Lord.
called You Can't Do That on Television.
I've never heard of that a day in my life.
I'm pretty sure you haven't. To be honest, most family members listening probably hasn't.
Life, y'all.
But it was an old Nickelodeon kid show. It was based out of Canada.
Okay.
And think of the kid version of Saturday Night Live
Okay.
is what it was. So it was a sketch comedy show.
So totally improv.
Some of it, most of it was.
Okay.
But there were reoccurring characters that they had, reoccurring skits. And actually, have you ever seen slime anywhere on Nickelodeon? You ever seen anybody get slimed?
I've never watched Nickelodeon.
Okay. But
remember who you talking to,
yeah,
so
I
we
forget
can just.
you were born an adult.
So I came out
You
of
were born an
adult.
adult.
I came out of adult.
But there's a thing that Nickelodeon does. They slime people.
Right.
Like they'll do it on their kids shows, or they'll do it. Yeah, it's green slime. But that's where that originated from. It originated from you can't do that on television.
Right.
Because it was if they certain, and I don't remember right now, but it's a certain word or phrase that they said.
Right.
And whenever they did it, green slime would just slime them.
Nasty.
So it came from that. But the reason that's one of my favorite television shows is because growing up, my brother and I could never agree on anything.
Right.
We could never agree on the television. We could never agree what to watch on TV. It had to be so we wouldn't physically fight.
Right.
We had to take turns.
Right.
So like one day it was mine where I get to pick whatever we watch.
Right.
And then the next day would be his and he get to pick. But the one show that we could always agree on
was that one.
Was you can't do that on television.
Wow.
That's the one show that no matter whose day of the week it was to choose,
right,
we could always agree on that show. We would always watch that show together.
Wow, baby.
So that's as you say, a very good trigger, because anytime I think about that show, anytime I make reference of it, or I happen to come across it on YouTube or whatever,
right,
because I'm not the only one that remembers that show.
Right. We hope.
Yeah. But it brings back such good memories. And I'm glad you actually said that. I'm glad that's how we started this. Because once again, when you talk about triggers, a lot of people always want to think about the negative, the negative part of it.
It brings me angry.
It brings me
mad.
angry, or it reminds me of something bad that happens.
Makes me want to fight.
Yeah, but there are some really good triggers. Because and when I say this, please, family, do not take this the wrong way, because I will never pretend to understand everything that everybody has been through.
Right.
Because I know that there are some family members that had a hard life. I know there are some family members that are having a hard life.
Yeah.
But one thing I know for sure, in even the hardest of situations, there's always a moment. There's always a moment where you can find something good. And there's always a moment where a good thought can come and something will trigger that, and something will happen, or a conversation or word, and it'll bring that good memory back to you. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the good triggers.
I was looking up what is an emotional trigger. I just was looking at and it says a emotional trigger is anything including memories, experiences, or events that sparks an intense emotional reaction regardless of your current mood. Emotional triggers associated with post-traumatic like PTSD, right, or it's with things that has happened that makes you feel a certain way. And so because even when you read this, you automatically think like something depressing, something bad. But when it's emotional triggers, anything including memories, experiences, or events that sparks an intense emotional reaction regardless of your current mood. Yeah. So for me, when I read that, talk about emotional triggers, that I can be in a bad mood, right? But if something triggers me with a good memory, it's going to change my whole mood immediately. That's why I said sometimes we got to talk about the good triggers, but we also got to talk about the bad triggers. We have to do both. You can't just do one without the other.
Yeah, it's a yin and a yang.
It is.
And it's also important that not only that you understand your triggers, your good or bad triggers,
right,
but it's imperative that your spouse understands your good and your bad triggers.
Because nobody can push your buttons like your spouse.
Yeah,
I don't care.
And also, not even so much as no one can push your button, because that's true. Because there's a certain level of anger that only you can get me to.
Thank you.
And when I said I'm not trying to be funny, but it's because I don't care about anyone else's opinion enough to allow them to get me to that point.
To that point, right.
But you have that over me.
Right.
Where, because I care about your thought process when it comes to me, I care about how you view me, I care about your idea of who I am.
Right.
So you have that power. But what happens also is that if I'm not aware of your triggers, or if I'm not aware of why you turned or why you shifted,
why the switch changed,
what happened, like case in point, we were talking about Al Green.
Right.
If you were not at a place where you were open enough to have that conversation with me, then all of a sudden now you go into the shower, you go into the bathroom happy, and we were having a good time, till you come out the bathroom, now you're tense, Now you're upset. Now
Don't
you're
wanna talk
angry.
to
Now you don't
you.
want to talk to me. Now, of course, my first instinct is, what did I do?
Yeah, what did I do wrong?
You know, what did I do wrong? And now
what you
I'm
did
coming.
wrong was you was singing at Al Green.
Yeah, but there's no way you can play Al Green without singing Al Green.
No, I'm just saying, when you think about, had I not told you that,
Yeah.
I would have been walking around angry, mad, rolling my eyes at you, and not, instead of just communicating to you that experience that I had,
Right.
what it triggered in me, what kind of emotion did it trigger in me. I appreciated that even when I did that, you went in, you got your album out, you put it back, and I was like, no, babe, you can play it. And the thing that you said to me was like, I love him so much. You was like, no, not right now, because if it's getting that type of reaction from you, I don't need to play it. I will play it when you're not home.
Right.
You know, so you basically heard me. You know, you listened and you heard me at the same time, and respected my feelings versus saying, well, first of all, that's how you feel. That's what you went through, but you grown. That was when you was 5 or 6. Why are we still bringing that up? Or I'm going to still play my music because this is my house too. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hearing what you had to say. The same thing with me. Once we talked about that day and realized the trigger, I was like, ooh, okay, I got it now. I got now why you say to me stuff like, how many stores are we going to?
Right.
Give it to, no, because
Tell me up front.
Tell me up front how many stores we going to, and just know that my car is going home. So don't add no extra stores to this.
So if you tell me 3, after we leave that third store,
we're going home.
my 2016 Dodge Charger going back to the house.
And you know what's so crazy? Because when you used to say it to me, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to be like, let me go right to Aldi's when this is over, because I didn't add Aldi's, but we need something from Aldi's. And I'd be like, you know what? I just got to get some stuff from Aldi's. And my husband would say to me, well, I'm going to drop you off to your car.
And you can go.
And you could go wherever.
Call me when you get there.
You want to make sure that you safe. Give me a call. But I'm doing the 3 stores that you told me that we were going to do. So now, I understand a little bit better, you know?
But also, talking about triggers and talking about understanding your spouse's trigger, the one thing that you can't do is take it personal.
Right.
Because that trigger is personal to your spouse, of course.
Right.
And it's personal to the person that's going through it. But as the person from the outside looking in,
right,
you cannot take it personal because it's 9 times out of 10, it was before you.
Right.
It was long before you.
Uh-huh.
You know, and so, and their reaction to what's going on right now, what they need is your support. You know, not your, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to use, what's the word I want to use?
I don't know. Why are you staring at me?
Because I'm trying to, because I want to use a word. I'll just use attack. I just use that. It's not the word I wanted to use, but I'll use that one for now. What they need is your support and not you attacking them because of what's going on right now. Because it could have went wrong. Because like you said, I could have really easily been like, but babe, this is my house too. I just got this album. You know, I really want to listen to it. You know, go in the room, get over it.
Right.
See you later. See you later. I'm going to play my music. And that would have went so wrong.
It would have went so left.
Yeah, because I took it personal, because I took it as a personal attack.
Yeah.
She don't never want me to do anything. She don't never want me to be happy.
She don't never want me to be great, because that's your favorite line. Be correct. She never want me to be great.
Never want me to be great. And so, and then it would have just been something totally different. And instead of you feeling supported and you feeling loved, now you would have felt undermined and felt as though that how you feel is not important.
And I think a lot of times with triggers, people have to, especially spouses, have to remember when those triggers happen, it is a surprise to them, just like it's a surprise to you.
Yeah.
Not that they did experience it, but it's a surprise that it surfaced, right? That is, especially the ones that's been deep down.
Yeah.
I was like a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And that surface, I am 53 years old. For that to surface right now, never had it ever surfaced before. And again, I think because I've never been in a place where Al Green was just playing and I couldn't get out, right? You know, like, it's my house. Where am I going? But it never surfaced. But the fact that it did was such a shock for me, because I remember I came out I was like, baby, I got it.
Yeah.
I was like, I got
and
it.
You had an epiphany. You had an aha moment.
Yeah, because it freed me up. Like, it freed me, like, girl, that's it. So now you're gonna have to listen to some Al Green and let this go. You know?
The one thing I want to do, and I apologize because I know this started down a huge rabbit hole. But this is longer than a moment.
Oh, this is longer than a moment.
This is much longer than a moment.
We just out here today. Yeah. We out here today.
But the one thing, so random. We started random, so I'm going to end
it random, baby. End it random.
To me, it's amazing how the human mind works. Mm-hmm. And as the human mind, what you remember and what you don't remember.
Right.
And you have to be careful with that because I promise you, half my life, I think I made up.
I say the same thing.
I think I made it up.
Like, do we really remember the way we thought we remembered it?
Because it's always there's your version and then there's truth.
Right.
And then there's the reality of what happened. And sometimes I don't know if how I remember it meets the reality of how it happened. But I said all that to say this. It's amazing to me what I remember.
Right.
Like, when I close my eyes sometimes, I can see the patterns on the mattress of my infant mattress.
Really?
Yeah, my crib mattress.
Really?
Like, I don't remember being in the crib, of course, because I was the baby.
Right.
But when I close my eyes, I remember the pattern. And I know it's the pattern because when I see it, I see the mattress and I see myself actually laying in the mattress, which is really weird and really crazy. And
the mind is powerful.
The human mind, and family, I said that to say this. Understand that we don't understand how the human mind works.
Absolutely.
We don't. Even now, we still don't fully understand and fully grasp the capabilities of what the human mind does.
Right.
So with that being said, if some of the greatest minds in the world who went to school and study it every day
and
still don't have a full comprehension of it.
Exactly.
As a husband, as a wife, you're not going to have a full understanding
Absolutely.
of how your spouse's mind works.
Right.
And you're not going to have a full understanding of why they feel the way they do at this point in time, because sometimes they don't, or you don't understand of how 1 minute they were in a good mood and a moment later it shifts. So I say all that to say this: ride the roller coaster with them instead of, because we have a tendency sometimes with stuff we don't understand. Right. We try to attack.
Right. Or change or
fix. Or stuff. Yeah. And stuff we don't understand, we try to fix. Or what we try to do, we try to shift it to change it so it meets what we think it should be.
Exactly.
Or so our minds can better understand it.
Right.
When sometimes we just have to let it be what it is.
Just let it be what it's going to be.
Some of the greatest works of art, they're up for interpretation.
Right.
Because there is no one meaning for it.
Right.
Because when 14 people look at this one painting, 14 people see 14 different things.
Oh, yeah, because we went to the Mint Museum, remember? Was it the Mint Museum? Wait, not the Mint.
It was.
Why can't I speak? What is going on?
It wasn't
Wednesday?
the Mint. It was. Actually, it might have been the Mint Museum.
Was it the Mint Museum?
Oh, could have been the Harvey Gantt Center.
No, it wasn't the Harvey Gantt. It was across the street.
It was the Mint Museum there.
And we went, and me and him stared at this picture for like 5 minutes. And he had a skateboarder. Water, was it? I think it was a skateboard.
I think so.
It was a skateboarder. No, it was a surfer. I'm sorry. It was a surfer and water and all this. And I didn't see. I was like, baby, where you see that at? Like, he could point it out and everything, and I could not see that because our minds are different. Yeah. What we see is different. But I will say this: if a trigger does come and you're with your spouse, like I did or like he did, tell each other.
Have that conversation.
Have that conversation, baby. What you did, I was angry because it triggered me.
Yeah.
Or I was laughing because it triggered me. You know, like you fell and and I was laughing and I wanted to help you up. But I remember the time my mama fell kind of like that. And, you know, like whatever that is. Whatever that is, and explain to each other. I think a lot of times, especially if it's an emotional trigger that makes you feel a certain type of way, we try to swallow that. Because I could have easily just swallowed it and came out, like you said, out the bathroom with an attitude and been mad and not even told you what was really going on. But I chose it like I was free.
Yeah.
I was free from it. So I think a lot of triggers, emotional triggers, can free you. You know. Yeah. So I'm trying to do good.
You're doing better, babe.
We trying to be a moment. I think we that has that.
That's out the window.
Yeah. So what's your final thought?
My final thought. Actually, I was going to ask you yours, but let's go with mine. So my final thought is really simple. Significance is my final thought. Here's what I mean by that. Because I don't think something is significant.
Wow. Say it.
if you think it's significant, it becomes significant.
Exactly.
Because I love you.
Right.
And because you're significant to me. Therefore, what's significant to you becomes significant to me.
Right.
So when it comes to triggers, I can't think it's trivial.
Right.
I can't think you should get over it.
Right.
I can't think, oh, why does that even bother you?
Right.
I can't think that. I don't have a place to think that.
Right.
Because it bothers you.
Right.
Because it triggers you. Because it's significant for you. So at that point in time, I have to put self to the side.
Right.
I have to be a support to you. I have to be there for you. I have to figure out how we can partner and work through this together.
Right.
Because I can't fix you.
You can't fix
I
me.
can't go into it. I can't go into my closet, pull out my toolbox, and find the right tool to fix that situation.
You got a tool belt?
Huh?
Got a tool belt?
A tool belt and Tim's. That's all you need.
That's all right.
Tool
Tool
belt
belt
and
and
Tim's.
Tim's. They got to match, though.
I'm just saying.
Make the Tim's match
Hey,
the tool belt.
it's a construction Tim's. They match.
Construction Tim's, yes.
But I can't go into the situation trying to fix you.
Yeah.
So if there's a trigger, if there's something good or bad, I can't go into that situation trying to fix you. The only thing I can do is be there with you.
Right.
And do everything I can to have you know that, babe, we're in this together.
Right.
We're going to work through this together. Whatever we need to do to work through this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So that's my final thought.
I think my final thought is that when those emotional triggers come, the ones that are not oh so good, not oh so happy, that you communicate that to your spouse, your significant other. And I say that because what you don't want to do is have them think it was them.
Right.
Right? They did something wrong. Like you said, I would have came out and you'd have been like, well, what did I do? You know, it's better to communicate that to each other. Be like, babe, that triggered some anger in me that I can't even believe. And the reason why is because when I was younger or when I was in college or whatever, someone treated me a certain way and said that to me. And when you said it, you might have said it 1,000 times before, but this particular time,
that one time,
at this moment today, it triggered emotions in me that made me want to lash out at you. And I did, and I apologize. But let me tell you why. Because sometimes we do go ahead and lash out and then have to come back later. And, you know, I lashed out and I want to apologize. It has to be this open line of communication. We have to be honest with each other because sometimes everything is not about the person that you just lashed out at. Everything is sometimes it's just about what emotions that you're carrying that you didn't even know that you were carrying around till something one day, somehow, 1 second, 1 minute triggered you in that space to be in. So once again, for me, as usual, we know our biggest thing is to communicate that and to say that to each other.
I love it. I think that's a great place to end.
Yes.
Family.
This wasn't a moment, y'all.
Hey, it was close enough to a moment. Family, we thank you for listening.
Yes.
We thank you for being a part.
Yes.
However you're listening, whether it's iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Google Play Music, whether it's iHeartRadio, or on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com. We thank you so much. Of course, consider ourselves an interactive podcast.
Yes, we are.
What that means is that we can be found on the socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, all on the Crenshaw Corner. And you can always email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. And family, as always, welcome to our journey.
We love you guys. Bye.